Most men think obsession starts with effort. More texts, better timing, longer conversations, deep talks at 2 a.m., explaining feelings like it's a PowerPoint presentation nobody asked for. Yeah, that happened. And somehow, the harder a man tries to be unforgettable, the faster he becomes emotionally recyclable. Here's what actually messes with a woman's head in a very specific, very inconvenient way. Women don't replay men who chase. They replay men who activate something internally, then leave the nervous system slightly confused, mildly curious, and annoyingly alert at random hours of the day. Not manipulation, not mind games, psychological triggers. And no, this isn't about dominance, mystery cosplay, or pretending to be emotionally unavailable. That stuff collapses under pressure. This is about how a man's emotional behavior either fades instantly or leaves residue. The kind that pops up while she's brushing her teeth, or driving, or comparing you to every other guy who suddenly feels flat. So if you've ever wondered why a woman keeps thinking about one man who didn't do much, while forgetting another who did everything right, this is why. 5 triggers, all psychological, all subtle, all accidentally exposed by men who don't overperform attraction. And once you see them, you'll also see exactly where most men sabotage themselves without realizing it. Not ideal. Let's get into it. Why predictability kills attraction. Attraction doesn't die because a man messes up. It dies because nothing emotionally registers anymore. The brain stops taking notes. Everything feels pre-approved, pre-answered, pre-solved. No tension, no curiosity, no reason for the mind to circle back. This is where most men quietly delete themselves. When a man shows up the same way every time, same tone, same availability, same emotional temperature, her nervous system clocks it immediately. He's safe, yes, but he's also emotionally flatlined. And the brain doesn't obsess over flatlines. It moves on. Emotional contrast isn't chaos, it's variation. A man who can be warm without being clingy, present without hovering, interested without chasing, like rent is due. That contrast keeps the emotional system awake. Her brain can't autopilot him. Here's a simple example. 2 men message her after a date. One sends a long recap, compliments, inside jokes explained again, follow-up plans locked in with calendar precision, emotional certainty delivered in bulk. He thinks he's doing everything right. The other sends one message, short, calm, slightly playful, doesn't explain the night, doesn't milk it. Then he goes back to his life. Guess which one her mind keeps reopening? Not because he was confusing, because he didn't flatten the emotional moment by overprocessing it. Her brain stays engaged because it wasn't force-fed closure. Men assume women want emotional consistency. What actually sticks is emotional contrast paired with stability. Calm energy, but not predictable behavior. Confidence without performance. Interest without emotional flooding. When a man reacts the same way to everything, excitement, disagreement, silence, attraction, his emotional value drops. The brain categorizes him as background noise. Familiar, manageable, finished. But when his reactions feel grounded yet varied, not reactive, not rehearsed, just human and self-directed, her emotional system stays alert. There's something to track, something to interpret. That's where attraction lives, not in effort, in emotional texture. And yes, this is exactly where nice guys get confused. They mistake emotional monotony for safety, then wonder why they're forgotten so easily. So yeah, bad day for predictability. Why absence makes her mind work overtime. Men here give her space and immediately picture ignoring messages, acting cold, or disappearing like a magician who forgot to come back. That's not space. That's emotional incompetence wearing sunglasses. Psychological space is different. It's what happens when a man doesn't emotionally crowd the connection. When he leaves room for curiosity instead of filling every silence with reassurance, availability, and explanations nobody requested. The female brain doesn't attach through saturation. It attaches through engagement. And engagement requires gaps. Here's where men panic. She doesn't reply for a few hours. His anxiety grabs the steering wheel. He sends another message, then another, then a clarifier, then a joke to lighten the mood. By the end of it, He's not communicating interest. He's narrating insecurity in real time. Not ideal. Now contrast that with a man who sends a message, then goes back to his life. Gym, work, friends. Silence doesn't trigger him. He doesn't perform calm. He actually is calm. That emotional restraint creates psychological space. And in that space, her mind starts filling in the blanks. What is he doing? Why isn't he hovering? Why doesn't he need reassurance? That's not manipulation. That's self-sufficiency. And self-sufficiency is strangely loud in a world full of emotionally noisy men. A practical example. A woman mentions she's had a long week. One man instantly offers emotional labor, advice, empathy, validation, and a 3-paragraph motivational speech. He turns her stress into his performance. Another man acknowledges it briefly, offers support without trying to fix her, and doesn't center himself in the moment. He lets the emotion exist without hijacking it. Guess which one lingers? Space allows emotion to echo. Overpresence smothers it. Men who are constantly available don't feel supportive. They feel absorbent, like emotional sponges that never fully dry. The attraction drains quietly. Psychological space tells her one thing very clearly. This man isn't chasing connection. He's allowing it to develop. That activates curiosity, imagination, and emotional investment without force. And once her mind starts doing the work for you, congratulations. You've stopped chasing and started occupying mental real estate. Why calm men easily create the addiction. Women don't emotionally attach to intensity. They attach to regulation. The man who stays steady when the moment wobbles automatically becomes the emotional reference point. His nervous system sets the temperature for the room, and hers adjusts without asking permission. Most men miss this completely. They think attraction is built during fun moments. It's not. It's built during micro-stress, awkward silences, slight misunderstandings, emotional vulnerability, small conflicts that don't deserve a full emotional breakdown but somehow get one anyway. That's where men expose everything. A plan changes last minute. An opinion lands wrong. She goes quiet. His tone shifts. His explanations get longer. His emotions leak through words he thinks sound logical. His ego refuses to read the instructions. So yeah, bad day to be his confidence. Emotional leadership looks boring from the outside. Calm response, no defensiveness, no overcorrection, no emotional scrambling, just grounded presence, not detached, not cold, regulated. A practical example. She cancels a date because she's overwhelmed. One man reacts with disappointment disguised as understanding. It's fine. I get it. I was just really looking forward to it. Translation: pressure, guilt. Emotional weight dropped in her lap. Another man responds simply. Calm acknowledgement. No emotional charge. No hidden resentment. No withdrawal. Guess which one feels safe enough to miss? The regulated man doesn't try to manage her emotions. He manages his own. That signals emotional maturity without saying a word. Her nervous system relaxes. Attraction deepens. Trust builds quietly. Women think about men who feel like emotional anchors, not emotional projects. When a man doesn't flinch at emotional tension, it creates a strange sense of relief, like finally not having to manage someone else's reactions. That relief gets mistaken for chemistry. Because honestly, it feels incredible. Men who react emotionally to everything feel unpredictable. Men who stay calm feel powerful, not dominant, stable. And stability is addictive when it's rare. This is why the man who says less, reacts less, and stays centered ends up occupying more mental space than the one who performs emotional availability on demand. His calm didn't impress her. It regulated her. And that's far more dangerous. Why her brain keeps replaying you. Closure feels responsible, mature, respectful. It also quietly murders intrigue. Most men rush to finish emotional moments, like they're clearing tasks off a to-do list. They explain how they feel. They clarify intentions. They lock in certainty early because ambiguity makes them uncomfortable. Their anxiety wants a receipt. Her brain does not. The mind fixates on what feels incomplete. Moments that don't fully resolve keep looping in the background, not because they were dramatic, but because they left a thread loose. something unspoken, something slightly open. This is where men accidentally talk themselves out of attraction. A practical example. A late-night conversation gets personal. There's chemistry, vulnerability, tension. One man senses it and immediately labels it. He verbalizes meaning. He defines direction. He wraps the moment in emotional plastic wrap so nothing can leak. It's safe. It's clear. It's dead. Another man lets the moment breathe. He doesn't escalate emotionally or shut it down. He doesn't chase reassurance or confirm future meaning. He allows the conversation to end naturally, without stamping it with conclusions. Guess which one her mind replays the next day? Unfinished moments feel alive. Her brain keeps returning to them, trying to resolve what wasn't forced into clarity. Not because he was confusing, because he trusted the pace. Men think attraction grows from certainty. It grows from anticipation. When a man over-explains feelings, availability, or intentions too early, he removes the emotional mystery that fuels curiosity. Her mind doesn't need to revisit anything. Everything was spelled out. End of file. But when a man allows emotional moments to exist without squeezing answers out of them, her brain keeps the file open. And open files use energy. That's the loop. This doesn't mean being vague or evasive. It means not rushing emotional resolution to calm personal anxiety. It means letting attraction unfold instead of trying to control it. Men who leave emotional space at the end of moments don't feel unfinished in a bad way. They feel intriguing, grounded, self-contained. Her brain doesn't obsess because she's confused. It obsesses because the moment felt important and wasn't over-processed. And once a woman starts replaying interactions to feel them again, you've already won the psychological battle without lifting a finger. How rude. Now, let me tell you about self-directed purpose. Nothing shuts down attraction faster than a man emotionally reorganizing his entire life around a woman he barely knows. Canceling plans, shifting priorities, becoming overly flexible, suddenly available at all times like customer support. It doesn't feel romantic. It feels destabilizing. Women don't obsess over men who orbit them. They obsess over men who have gravity of their own. A self-directed man isn't cold or distant. He's oriented. His life is already moving somewhere, and she's invited into it, not installed as the center console. That distinction matters more than most men realize. Here's the practical example. A man has a full week, work, gym, commitments, momentum. He meets a woman and enjoys her. When scheduling gets tricky, he doesn't panic or over-accommodate. He suggests an alternative calmly. If it doesn't work, he doesn't emotionally collapse or guilt her with disappointment disguised as understanding. Another man clears his calendar immediately, moves things around, makes her feel like the sun his entire routine now revolves around. Guess which one feels heavier? Purpose creates psychological safety because it signals stability, direction, identity. A man who doesn't need her attention to feel validated feels rare in a world full of men quietly begging to be chosen. And no, this isn't about pretending to be busy or playing hard to get. Women can smell performance from a mile away. This is about genuinely having something you're committed to, a mission, a rhythm, a sense of self that existed before her and will exist after her. When a man doesn't center a woman emotionally too early, her mind does something interesting. It leans in. Curiosity activates. Investment grows. Why? Because she doesn't feel responsible for his emotional state. Men who make women the emotional centerpiece of their lives unintentionally create pressure. Pressure kills desire. Men who stay aligned with their own direction create relief. Relief fuels attraction. A self-directed man doesn't chase connection. He allows it to meet him where he already stands. And that's when women start thinking about him during moments he isn't even present. Because he didn't cling. He didn't overextend. He didn't collapse his identity to be liked. His purpose didn't compete with her. It made room for her to step toward him on her own. So yeah, the fastest way to be unforgettable is to stop trying to be central. Gravity does the rest. Let me say this, though. None of these triggers work if they're performed. They only work when they're natural byproducts of emotional discipline. Emotional contrast, space, calm leadership, unfinished moments, self-directed purpose. These aren't tactics, they're signals. And women are extremely good at detecting when a signal is real versus rehearsed. Men who try to do these things usually fail because their anxiety leaks through the behavior. Their timing feels off. Their restraint feels forced. Their absence feels strategic instead of grounded. Men who actually live this way don't think about attraction much at all. They're regulated, oriented, comfortable with silence, unrushed by outcomes. Their discipline doesn't clock out when emotions show up. Their ego doesn't hijack conversations. Their anxiety doesn't grab the steering wheel every time something feels uncertain. And that's why they linger. Not because they're perfect, but because they don't emotionally collapse under pressure. They leave space. They don't smother moments. They don't need immediate reassurance. They don't center themselves where they don't belong. That combination is rare, and rarity creates obsession. If this video made you uncomfortable, good. That usually means something landed. If it clarified something you've been confused about, even better. Drop a comment and share your experience. What part hit a little too close? I read them, and I do reach out. You're not invisible here. If you want more breakdowns like this, psychology, stoicism, male behavior explained without sugarcoating, like the video, share it with someone who needs it. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel. This channel exists so you don't keep repeating patterns that cost you connection. The next video goes deeper into why men sabotage attraction the moment they start caring. And trust me, it's messier than you think.